welcome to the Book Beat. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. We've got a lot of pioneers and experts, at least I should say three, in their field. And our first is going to be Dan Janal. He's going to join us shortly. And then we also have Dr. Carol Orsborn on, and she has been a pioneer for a long time for the boomer generation, especially boomer women, on aging and wellness and related matters, and also in marketing to boomer women. And she's written a fantastic new book. I love the title. It's called Fierce with Age. And then we have Julie Simon with us, who's a psychotherapist, and she knows how to conquer emotional eating. So if you are eating emotionally, then stay tuned. She's going to join us in the last segment. Okay, so I want to just talk a little bit this week about, I've got this from my It's Never Too Late file. I keep a file of older people doing extraordinary things. And here's a woman who is still writing romance novels at the age of 105. And you may know her under different names. If you've never heard her name, which is Ida Pollock, it's because she writes under a bunch of other names, such as Ross Burgley or Pamela Kent. But she is still writing romance novels. I almost said remorse novels. Romance novels. And she's got a formula. She says usually you have to have it take place in a grand setting. She says that the younger men they don't know a lot, they kind of lack maturity, so you have to bring in a rugged older man who's going to, rescue the heroine and kind of save the day. And whatever it is, she's making millions and millions of dollars at this, and she's been doing it for something like 80 years or more, and still going strong. So it is never too late. I mean, if you are 85, you got another couple of decades to go with this. So, and as you know, I often talk about self-publishing versus mainstream, and our first expert, Dan Janal, has a lot of great tips in both areas. They're really valuable if you are thinking of writing a book, or you've written a book, or it's time to publicize your book, get promoted, get publicity for it. He's got a lot of great tips for you, and also how to avoid scams. And what I like to say is the good news is self-publishing has changed everything. And the bad news is self-publishing has changed everything in some ways. So coming from mainstream, I look at some of the scams that I see, and it's like I can't believe it. And I want authors to beware of some of the things that you're going to be hit with after your self-published book comes out. So since we're so privileged to have Dan with us, he is an amazing person. I mean, you were in on the start of America Online. What am I thinking? AOL.
That's right.
Right? Really? How did? Yeah. You have been around, since the start of the whole internet phenomenon, right?
Well, I like to say I wrote one of the first books about marketing on the internet back in 1993, and back then the only people online were me and Al Gore.
Yeah. You guys invented it together, right?
He was right there.
Right. And let me ask you, how did you spot this trend? Like, how did you know that this was going to take off? Why did you put your energy there?
That's a great question. I was actually, my entire professional life has been online. I was a forum host on the PR and marketing forum on CompuServe.
CompuServe, oh my God.
Which again goes back a good long ways. And then I was on Prodigy as well, and I just saw the development of that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this internet comes along, and the internet did not have a public relations agency. It did not have a multi-billion-dollar marketing campaign for it, and it just was on the front page of every newspaper wherever you looked. And believe me, when we started AOL, we had to fight and claw for every bit of publicity we could get. It was not an out-of-the-box success. So when the internet came along, and everyone was going nuts over the internet, I said, aha, this is it. I'm writing the book that shows people how to market on the internet.
Wow. And then that just took off beyond what anybody ever imagined, right?
Oh, exactly. And it led to my career as well. I taught at Berkeley. I taught at Stanford. I've spoken literally all around the world, from Beijing to Budapest, all over Canada, Mexico,
Wow.
even Rio de Janeiro.
Wow, talk about being on the cutting edge. So so you have a couple of books that you brought with you. Do you want to hold up this first one here? It's called Reporters Are Looking for You.
Sure. This The Reporters Are Looking for You is a great book that teaches you how to pitch your story to reporters. And if you're an author, you need to get publicity for your book, and you need authors to say good things about you. Because even Jack Canfield, who created the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, in his introduction, he still refers to Time magazine saying nice things about him. And if you sold 25 billion books and you still feel that you need Time magazine to give you credibility, then there's hope for you and me.
Right, right. And that is a little known fact, because I can tell you I was a reporter for many years, and people don't realize that you can pitch us with stories. I mean, we're looking for new angles, right? And you show people how to do that, right?
Exactly. And it's never been easier to get publicity, because there are a lot of services now, like PR leads, where reporters actually come to us and say, hey, we're writing a story about this topic and we need to find experts. Can you put us in touch with people who know how to answer this question? So my book teaches you what to say so you stand out from all the other hundreds of people who could be responding.
So give us a quick, what should you do and what should you not do when contacting a reporter?
Okay. What you should not do is just say, hi, I'm the world's leading authority in this topic, and I'd be happy to help you, because that doesn't tell them what you're going to say. What you want to do is give them 2 or 3 tips that actually answer their question, so that way it'll help you stand out from everyone else. Because let's face it, lots of people are going to respond, have the exact same kind of credentials as you. They've been to college, they have degrees, they have experience in the field, they might have written books, so you're all the same. So what makes you stand out? It's your approach to the topic.
What we call a hook.
Exactly.
I'm always looking for a hook or a new angle. So like you give me a new, let's say I write about health and fitness, right? And you give me some new angle on that I haven't thought of.
Exactly. I'm writing a press release right now for one of my clients who's using hypnosis as a way of helping her clients lose weight, because diets are fads. So that's her take on it, and that's an interesting hook.
Right, right. So you can really approach reporters, and like you say, now you have prleads.com, is that the right?
That's right,
okay.
prleads.com.
And what does that do exactly for people?
Okay, prleads.com, it puts together authors and experts with reporters who are writing stories. So when you get a lead from me, you'll know 2 things. That 1, there's definitely a reporter who's writing a story about this topic right now. And 2, they don't know who to talk to. Because if they did, they'd be calling you directly. So when you get a lead from me, you'll see the reporter's name, their contact information, and a brief description of their article and exactly what they're looking for. So you can respond back to them and say, hey, I have this information. Here are a couple of tips. Here's how to contact me, and run with it.
And this is really amazing. I have to tell you guys, I remember back in the dark ages, I got an assignment it was First for Women magazine, and the assignment was to find couples who had been friends before they got married. And so like where to start? So if you had been around then, you see, I would have contacted you, right? Said I'm doing a story on this. Instead, I had to ask around, and one connection would always lead to another, but that's how we used to do things in the dark ages.
Oh, exactly. I was a newspaper reporter too, and I remember those days when we have to look in the yellow pages to find a dentist who would talk about this topic, and they didn't want to be taken out from their patients, so it was really hard.
But maybe he had a friend, and then the friend would be the great interview, right? And then they would have somebody, so you'd have to connect, like that. And now they just come to you, and the reporters are actually asking for these leads, right? These get in contact with people.
Exactly. That's why the title of the book is Reporters Are Looking for You.
Good title.
And thank you. And it's a lot of authors think like, oh, they don't want to talk to me, or oh, I don't have anything important to say. Oh, someone will written a bigger book, or they sold more copies. Well, a lot of people talk themselves out of getting publicity, and they shouldn't do that, because reporters really are looking for people who have something interesting and different to say.
And as we probably both know, you write your self-published book in most cases, but even if it's mainstream, you get this 2-week honeymoon if it's mainstream with the publicist at your publishing house, and then you're on your own, folks. And then what do? I mean, they got to get publicity, right?
Exactly, but it's never been easier too, because you are your own publishing arm now. You have your blogs, there's Facebook, there's social media, there's YouTube, and there are reporters. And also newspapers want to print press releases now. When you and I were doing...
They do?
They do.
Really?
Yes, they do.
This is breaking news for me.
Exactly. That's because newspapers and magazines want more content. And they want more content because their readers want more content, the search engines want more content, and they rank those sites higher if they have more content.
And do they have like a lot of online space to fill now?
Exactly. I like to say that the internet is the world's largest printing press. So reporters really want to get press releases, and I'm writing a lot of press releases for authors and coaches and speakers about what they're doing. It doesn't necessarily have to be news. We don't call them news releases. We call them press releases. So they're filled with information that's what's in it for me, how-to information, things that are just interesting. Because look at it. Look at a newspaper. It's not just full of news. It's full of like horoscopes and gossip and celebrity news and TV and comics and crosswords. It's what's interesting. So if you have something interesting to say, there are people who want to read it online. And we can help people get that message out there.
Now, let me put on my skeptical reporter's hat for just a minute, okay?
Sure.
There's a lot of press releases. I mean, I used to get bombarded with them, okay, when I was working for magazines. How is my press release going to get noticed?
Okay. Well, you're absolutely right. When I was a business editor with Gannett, which publishes USA Today, we would get so many press releases, we couldn't even open them all. We just look at return addresses, and it was like from Microsoft or IBM.
Right.
We would look at it, but if it was from someone else, we just throw it away.
It's a circular file.
Exactly. But now, because newspapers and magazines want press releases, they'll take just about anything and everything that we send them via PR Newswire. That's really the key. The magazines trust PR Newswire. We work with PR Newswire. We have a discount relationship with them, so we can give our clients great savings if they work through us, and that's really the key.
And PR Newswire, that goes to all major media, right?
Exactly, it goes to every newsroom in the country.
Wow. So now you also you've got another book out, right, about scams, about hold it up.
Right. It's called Internet Marketing Confidential.
Right.
And it talks about how authors can spot all the scams and ripoffs that internet marketers use to take advantage of authors and speakers.
What are some of the main ones that you've seen?
Oh, gosh. Where do I start?
Your top 2 or 3.
Okay. Well, in my e-zine today, I wrote about Facebook likes and Twitter follows. And if you have massive followers, you think that, oh, wow, they must be popular. Well, chances are they've actually bought their followers. And the people who follow them really don't have a clue as to who they're following. They're just names. They don't really care what you're saying. And you go to someone's site, oh, they have 50,000 followers. They must be popular. And in reality, no one really knows who they are.
And some are bots, right? Some are robots, right?
Exactly. It's so you think you're reaching real people, and you're really not. So it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy, and you're fooling yourself. So that's one scam. Another scam are these high-priced pitch festivals.
Yeah, tell me about those, because almost every self-published author I know, after they've contributed to the anthology, right, where they paid $5,000 and then they got a chapter in a book and a celebrity's on the cover, right? And then they can say, I co-wrote this book with Deepak Chopra, But after that, then they tell me they're going to go to a pitch fest. So what are these pitch fests?
Well, actually, they're not called pitch fests on the face of it. Oh, you're absolutely right. They are pitch fests. And what I mean by that is you think you're going to a conference where you're going to learn lots and lots of great things from lots and lots of famous people. And in reality, they just get up there and sell you and sell you and sell you multi-$1,000 programs and services, most of which, frankly, you can buy in a $25 book at Barnes & Noble.
Really?
I've seen a lot of people selling marketing seminars or time management seminars, and let's face it, there's nothing new under the sun. You can get all that in a normal book or a dummies book for just a couple of dollars. Now, if you're getting hands-on work and consulting with the speaker, then that certainly is worth a lot more money. But if you're just getting an off-the-shelf program that's targeted for the masses, chances are you're overpaying for it. And even worse, you went to that seminar, you paid money for your travel, for your airfare, for your hotel and food, and you're not learning anything. You're just getting sold to 7 hours a day, 4 days a week. So that's not fun. Yeah.
Well, what else, or what do you recommend like authors do for publicity besides the PR releases? Are there other things that we can do that will be helpful?
Oh, sure. You can work with the traditional media, as I help a lot of my clients do, but also you are your own publishing firm now. You have
True.
your blogs. When you speak somewhere, you can collect business cards and build your list, and the money is in the list. So anyway, you can get people to come to your website and subscribe to a free report. So you're building your list. That's gold. I mean, I put my newsletter out every Monday, and someone orders something as a result of that, whether it be a coaching session or a book or a press release. All that's good, and you just need to constantly do that. In fact, that's another thing I talk about in my book about scams. They say, oh, making money online is easy. Well, no, it isn't. It takes a lot of work. There's no such thing as a 4-hour work week or an 8-hour work week. I mean,
No, don't tell me that. I love his book.
Right. It's a great book. It's a
Yeah.
fun book to read. There are a lot of great insights into that book, but I don't think he works 4 hours a week either.
Really? Yeah, but he goes to Japan and he wrestles. He wins these martial arts contests, and we can't do that, really.
Well, Tim's a really smart guy, and he
Yeah.
can do a lot of things in his time. But for most mere mortals, it takes a lot more than 4 hours to put together a real business. So if you want a part-time income, you work a part-time number of hours. If you want to make real money, most people I know are working 40 to 60 hours a week, and they're working really hard. But when you finally get that lynch wheel, when it finally all kicks in, then it really starts paying off. So it can be done. But what these internet marketers don't tell you is that it takes a lot of work to get to that point.
To get to the momentum, right?
Exactly.
To get the momentum
exactly.
going, yeah.
Right. Once you get the momentum going, then life becomes pretty easy.
Well, you've been successful at it.
I've had recurring income every day of my life for the last 10 years.
Yeah. So,
Life is good. Little applause there. Thank you. Yeah. Life
be
is
done.
good. Life is good when you wake up in the morning and you turn on your email and there are already orders that have been coming into your system, and they're all recurring orders, and new orders come in, and people tell their friends, and word of mouth kicks in, and they tell their friends, and you just keep on getting more and more orders. So yeah, life is very good when that happens.
So what's your best advice to tell somebody who kind of dreams of being an internet marketer, which is your specialty? I mean, how do they start? What's the best thing?
Well, one of the things I talk about in my book is the lies that internet marketers tell you, but the biggest liar on the internet, frankly, is you. People go online and think, I'm going to make $1 million because everyone wants my stuff. And the truth of the matter is that not everyone wants your stuff. A few people want your stuff. And is that enough to make a business? And is it easy enough to find those people? And do you really need $1 million or $10 million? I met one guy who said he wants to make $10 million a year. And, that's kind of unrealistic. So if you set up with unrealistic goals, you're going to become extremely disappointed. Most people I know would be really happy to make $100,000. And instead, they're dreaming about millions of dollars. And if they just set their sights at more realistic expectations, they would be a much happier.
Now, to
more
find
successful.
those people that want your stuff, is this like what we hear about niche marketing? Is this finding your niche or how do you find those people?
Okay, you're talking about our listeners who are wondering what business they should go into?
Well, I mean, wondering about internet marketing, like you were saying, like, only a few people really want your stuff. And I'm wondering if you want to become an internet marketer, how do you find those people that want your stuff?
Okay, well, I don't like the term internet marketer for that. I mean, we're
I
authors.
see.
We are trying to get a market, and the internet is one way of getting that market. It's
I
like the
see.
telephone is a tool, the fax machine is or was
I
a
see.
tool. The internet is a tool for finding new people, for automating your systems, for automating delivery, for creating products and services, and all that is good. But if you want to write a book about emotional eating, that's great. A lot of people want to know how to lose weight. That's a great topic. Then how do you find those people?
Right.
So there's a big audience right there. I know a lot of people say, gee, here's a great way to hold up your socks. And everyone has socks. So and they fall down, so we want to find ways to hold up your sock. Well, truth is, most guys don't care, So if you think you have the world's greatest sock holder, you're probably going to lose your shirt. So you might want to do some test marketing first and find out if anyone really wants that product. I mean, back in my days in PR, the scariest time was when we'd have a new prospect call up and say, we have something totally new and revolutionary. And I'd say, oh my God, for two reasons. Number one, they thought that, the market is huge. The spreadsheet market is $1 billion market. If we got 1/10 of 1% of that market, we'd have like $100,000 or whatever. And the number would be, I'm bad with math. And the truth of the matter is that very few companies could get 1% of the market because people didn't really need the 13th spreadsheet to come along. The other scary thing was that this product is so totally unlike anything else. Well, that means you have to educate the market. And only Microsoft has enough money in the world to educate an entire population that there is a problem and that they have a solution to that problem. So again, set your sights realistically and stop lying to yourself.
And do your research and make sure your product is solid, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So what else in your new book? Why should someone get your book? What else is in here?
Okay. Well, we also tell about what internet marketers forget to tell you about the business. Like they may tell you about membership programs, continuity programs, subscription programs, where you can create content and people come and they interact with each other. And if you get 3 people who buy in at $100 a month, and the next month you get 3 more people, and you have $600, and 3 more people, you have $900, and the 4th month you have $1,200. Well, what they don't tell you is that after 4 to 6 months, the first group drop out. So they don't tell you that people don't subscribe forever. And they don't tell you that you need to create more and more and more content. Now, if you're like you and me, we're reporters. We like to write content. It's easy for us to write. It's easy for us to pick up the phone and interview someone. Creating content for us is easy. But if you're the kind of person who doesn't like to write, who looks at a blank page and gets real clammy fingers and such, then this is not the business for you. Plus, because you constantly have to get more and more people into the funnel, you constantly have to be marketing because other people are dropping out after the 3rd and 4th month. So the book does a good job of talking about what they forget to tell you about marketing, about numerous programs that actually are very, very good ideas, but you have to have your eyes wide open going into it and know what the pros and cons are so you can decide if that's right for you.
So your book is going to make me see things that I probably wouldn't see by myself if I just maybe heard about one of these ideas or saw the great video or whatever, right?
Right, exactly. It tells you the rest of the story.
As Paul Harvey used to say, yeah.
And isn't that a great way to close an interview?
Oh my goodness, yes. So let's see. Should we close the interview? Are we at? Boy, this has gone fast, Dan. Well, thank you so much for being here. You don't. Where's your home base? You don't live in California.
Well, Minneapolis and San Diego.
But you happen to be in California, and thank you for stopping by the studio. If you're ever here again, you're always welcome.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And one more thing. How can people get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, both books are available at Amazon, Internet Marketing Confidential and Reporters Are Looking for You. And my main website is PR Leads Plus. That's prleads.com. And you can learn about my consulting and all the PR services that we offer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dan. So stay tuned, everybody. Don't go anyplace because we have Carol Orsborn coming up, and she has been a pioneer in things that have to do with baby boomers for many years. And she's written a new book called Fierce with Age, and can't wait to find out what that's about. This is the Book Beat, and this is LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Hands can do incredible things. This is the sound of 326 hands playing Mozart. This is the sound of 10,942 hands showing appreciation. 64 hands building a house for the homeless. 142 hands swimming a triathlon. 18 hands winning the big game. And this is the sound of 2 hands helping to save a life. It's called Hands Only CPR, and it's recommended by the American Heart Association. If an adult suddenly collapses, call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of their chest until help arrives. It's incredibly easy and effective. Hands can do incredible things, but nothing compares to using them to help save a life. Find out more about this latest method of CPR at handsonlycpr.org. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Journey Sisters is an organization that embodies and captivates women from all walks of life. Our membership includes 44 women that are constantly growing in the areas of personal development and community involvement. Monthly, we offer free leadership classes at McKay's Restaurant. Journey aims to inform women in the areas of heart disease and HIV and AIDS. Experience the journey now by logging into www.journeymosaicinc.com. Toll free 888-906-5519. Journey with no excuses.
Welcome back to the Book Beat. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior, and our next guest is going to be Carol Orsborn. She is hopefully on the line. Not sure if we have her yet, but let me tell you a little bit about her before she comes on. She has a new, what she calls a memoir out called Fierce with Age, Chasing God and Squirrels in Brooklyn. And it's about a year that she spent in Brooklyn. She says a tumultuous year spent facing, busting, and ultimately triumphing over the stereotypes of aging. And Carol is really an expert on how baby boomers are redefining aging. So that's been an area that she's been a pioneer of. She's been out in front a long time on that subject. And we're just waiting to see if she can join us yet. Is she there yet? Carol, are you there? Oh, good. Good, you're there. Okay. I don't have to ad lib.
No.
So, Carol, you've just been, so out in front with wellness and aging, and, baby boomers are really redefining aging, aren't they?
It's I guess it's the perfect storm in that what's really redefining aging is the longevity bonus that we're receiving. We're the first generation that's being able to take full advantage of the fact that even in our 50s and 60s, we can expect another 30, 40 years ahead of us. And this is the first generation that has had come to this stage and age of our lives with so many opportunities and personal, physical attributes and mental attributes, and such a long road ahead of us. And so there's just a lot of opportunity to rethink how we want to use this last portion of our lives. That even our parents' generation, they were just burned out and exhausted by the time they hit 65.
They were, weren't they? Yeah.
They just wanted to relax and kick back. But I think most of us don't have that same sense right now that the golf course is going to be enough for us.
Right. I think a lot of us look around, we say, we don't really want to age like our parents did, right?
Right. Well, yes, and that's a whole other subject. It's not only that my mother lived at an age and stage where she became marginalized much younger than I think she would if she were my age today. I think she had a lot more tread in her tires, but the opportunities weren't there for her.
Right.
But I think there's something even more profound, and that is that my mom and many of our moms were of that generation. They were the Depression and World War II generation that were the Iron Maidens, hard as nails, pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Right.
And they really worked hard and, to a certain degree, achieved a lot of mastery in their lives. There was a sense of if I put my will to it, I can achieve it. And again, that was synchronicity between the stage in which they were aging and a world that was expanding and had opportunities that we don't necessarily have the same sense of mastery at this moment that they had when they were our age.
True. Well, I love what you came up with Fierce with Age, though. I mean, that is just such a great image and a great. How did you come up with that? What does that mean to you? How did you come to that?
Well, I want to just finish a story briefly about my mom, because the thing is, this sense of having mastery, it doesn't necessarily serve you long term. And things happen to us as we age. We do have losses. We do face challenges and ultimately mortality. And if you're a person who spent your whole life feeling like you had control, then when things do spin out of your control, as they did for my mom, in assisted living and losing her husband and then losing her physical health, because she'd always relied on will. She had no spiritual life. She had no psychological training. It wasn't cool for her generation to do internal work and meditation and things like that. So Fierce with Age came about because there was this fantasy that our parents' generation held, and it's a stereotype that you should be able to get to this point in your life where you're going to be serene. And what that was really a euphemism for was that you were going to willingly be marginalized. You were willingly going to be sent to the, become invisible and
kind of pushed aside.
Yeah, pushed aside and dismissed and not taken seriously anymore. And that's what serenity was supposed to be. Basically, it was the same way of saying to somebody, just keep your mouth shut, don't rock the boat, don't remind us about the fact that, we get old and die. So, we're going to put you behind gated communities and we're going to put you into facilities and not peek behind the door. And our generation growing up with a psychological and spiritual insight and training understand that there's something about confronting your fears. There's something about being authentic and not always having this face or this mask, and breaking denial in order to come to terms with those things that we fear.
Well, we were kind of fierce. I mean, we stopped a war, right? We had new music that, we kind of were a part of inventing. And there's no reason that kind of energy should leave, right?
We've been fierce all of our lives. I guess it's that whole thing about, when I say to people, a lot of people bash the boomer generation. They say we did a lot of harm, selfishness and self-centeredness and things like that. But all you have to do is watch Mad Men. Do you watch that show at all?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, and remember that we grew up in the 50s with, all the isms, homophobia, racism, sexism, all that stuff was rampant. And our generation really did a lot of heavy lifting. And we did it by what I'll call a fierceness.
Yes.
And what that fierceness is about is being able to step aside from situations and say, this is wrong, I'm going to change it. I am going to rock the boat. I am going to be that kind of a person that questions the stereotypes and the old paradigms. And that does take a fierceness. And that's what I'm seeing amongst my peers who are aging, that we're bringing that same sort of fierceness to bucking the stereotypes of aging.
Right, because why should we stop, right?
Well, I'm not ready to stop.
No.
I suppose... there is something to be said, I think, for taking sabbaticals.
You mean you can't fight all the time?
I think there comes to moments where maybe you just want to say, hey, I'm exhausted. I need a break. I'm going to go play.
I will sit in the rocking chair. I'll curl up in the rocking chair for about 5 minutes maybe, or maybe a day or something. But isn't it kind of a thin line, because you talk about this, between the denial of aging and changing the concept of aging?
Well, okay. So the denial of aging, that has to do with our society as being so oriented towards privileging youth. This notion of being forever young. If you take a look at Amazon's Kindle listings for bestseller books in the category of aging, at least yesterday, I don't know about today, but 4 out of the 5 top books were, how to stay forever young. Every single one of them, how to still be sexy, how to still, be look and act 10 years younger than your age. And we see it everywhere. And again, it's really gypping people out of a life stage that has really important gifts to give us and the world. If we're just trying to be like our daughters and not understand that there's value in aging itself. I mean, it sounds so weird coming out of my mouth because it's so countercultural. I mean, you talk about being part of the counterculture. To say that aging is an end of itself, that is a culmination, and that it has inherent value. If you stop pretending like you're denying that you're this age. I just read a fantastic blog today by a woman named Kathy Spore, and what she said is that she thinks that we ought to start rebelling against the whole notion and term of anti-aging. I mean, when we should be boycotting these cosmetic companies. I mean, it's okay to want to put moisture on your face because it feels good and makes your skin soft. But anti-aging, that's like saying I hate myself. That's like self-hatred.
Well, because it's not really okay to age in this society, really, is it?
No, it isn't. And that's the new revolution, I guess, when you start up saying, how are we redefining aging? I think that there's a lot of us that have been through a lot of things in our lives where we've had to say, okay, you say I can't be in the workplace, but I'm going to be in the workplace. You say I'm a bad person because I split my time between work and parenting, but I don't believe that about myself. And I think that same energy coming forward into, I'm 65 now, and to be able to sit here at 65 and say, wait a minute, I know that society likes to make jokes about us, put us down, say mean things, marginalize us, call us names, and I don't buy any of it. And I don't want to come at this life stage as if it were a fight and to have to defend my right to have the kind of life experience I want. So, I mean, to me, that's the dance. Is I don't particularly want to spend my whole life in revolution. I just want to be left to be given my spot of place on the earth so that I can really enjoy this amazing life stage that I'm in.
Well, it sounds like you want to sort of feel okay about being who you are. And just in the minute we have left here, is that what the new book is about? Is that was the year of discovery? And if we read that, we kind of capture that feeling from you of what that's like?
Well, eventually, like many of us, I was broadside with the idea that I had grown older somehow. I thought I was in this extended midlife, but there was a series of big and little catastrophes, everything from not just being laid off, but being replaced by a fictional avatar. I was working for a website, and supposedly we were helping companies market to women 50 plus, but I was replaced, I believe in part, because I was looking and sounding older than the message that we were putting out. The whole marketing world I came from, was really saying, hey, look, we're still climbing mountains, we're still
running marathons, doing triathlons at 85.
Exactly.
And you were replaced by an avatar.
I was a sort of a Betty Crocker kind of character who was barely 50, if that, and airbrushed. I mean, they take teenagers and put gray hair on them, basically, and that's how old people are portrayed these days. So that sort of hit me between the eyes that when I was starting to talk and think about things that were age appropriate for me, that the marketers and the advertisers out there didn't particularly want to listen anymore. So if I said, and I did say this, it's like, it's sort of a complicated message because it's like, I'm not going to be happy just sitting around and playing another round of golf. But I also think it's fine if you want to play a round of golf. If you want to sit on a rocking chair, it's like we shouldn't judge the person on the rocking chair necessarily as being marginalized or being there because they've been isolated. They might be having a transcendent experience in that rocking chair.
Right. And, and you, I know you say also that the life decisions that are made by boomers as we kind of pioneer, the second half of life will affect the future of, U.S. generations to come. So we're still kind of pioneering, right?
Well, yes, whether or not you think of yourself as being a revolutionary, just by hitting 65 and knowing that you don't want to do it the way your mom did it, but you're not sure you want to do it the way you've always done it.
Right.
It's like...
So there's something new to reinvent there. And Carol, we could have you on the show for another hour. You've got so much to say. Tell us about your new book and where we can get it.
Well, the book is called Fierce with Age, Chasing God and Squirrels in Brooklyn. It's on Amazon.com. It's on all the online bookstores. And it retells, it's my memoir of a year I spent recently dealing with and overturning and ultimately triumphing over the stereotypes of aging.
That's everybody
get fierce with age.
It sounds really wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Carol. Carol Orsborn. And she writes for Huffington Post, and you can follow her. You find her online in a lot of different places, and she has wonderful books about boomers and aging, and especially for boomer women. So stay tuned. Yes.
May I say, just come to fiercewithage.com. That's my main
Fierce
website.
with Age.
And
good.
Yeah.
Fiercewithage.com. Okay. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Carol. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, because we have Julie Simon coming up, and she is going to tell us how to finally get over emotional eating. So stay tuned. And come back and join us at with the Book Beat here on LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.
Hi, this is Dr. Levi, your fitness doctor, making a personal house call, inviting you to join me Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific for my all-new show, The Dr. Levi Show. Join us as we discuss fitness, health, and well-being, including emotional and spiritual health. So don't forget to tune in to The Dr. Levi Show every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on latalklive.com and the Talk Live Broadcast Network. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv, or catch us on the Live 365 network, and now on Radio Flag and Stitcher Radio. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi, this is Elena, inviting you to join me every Wednesday at noon for Elena's Beauty Talk and more, exclusively on LA Talk Live. You can also catch us on iTunes, Radio, R&B, or watch us on Ustream.tv. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello, I'm Joel Ramirez.
And I'm Lolita Robinson Coppage, and welcome to Joy in My House
on LATalkLive.com. Inspirational radio
with a touch of recovery.
A reality show where nothing is left unsaid
and no one is insignificant who says it.
Exclusively on LATalkLive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio R&B or watch us on Ustream TV.
Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Book Beat. I'm Jean-Noel Bassior, and that bumper music is composed by my brother, Rick Fleischman. So I always want to thank Rick for that. It's just perfect. Thank you. So we have Julie Simon with us in studio now, and she is a licensed psychotherapist and a personal trainer and a life coach. And gosh, you do a lot of stuff. Anything else I've forgotten? What else?
I wrote a book.
You wrote a book. And the book, hold it up. The book is called The Emotional Eater's Repair Manual, a practical mind-body-spirit guide for putting an end to overeating and dieting. And it's by a great publisher, put it out, New World Library. Aren't they? Did you? Hope you had
They're wonderful.
They are wonderful, aren't they?
Yes, and when you were saying that some publishers drop you after 2 weeks, they keep going with you for 6 months.
They do. It's a small company up in San Rafael, right?
Yes,
and
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Once the previous publicist, she was there for many years, Marjorie told me that when they get a submission in, that everybody reads it. And it's like a family, right?
Uh-huh.
So it was a good experience working with them?
It was a wonderful experience working with them. From the editing to Mark Allen himself called me when he was, considering my book. From the editing all the way to, cover design, they're great. All the way to, getting endorsements and everything.
They really supported
and publicity. They so support you with publicity.
Yeah. This is how publishing should be. And I think that because a lot of publishers aren't like this, this has contributed to the rise of self-publishing where authors just, hit walls, and it's just hard to go on. So you do it yourself, right?
Right. And when you've had an experience your first time like this, you think, why would anyone self-publish?
Right. Well, you got a great publisher. So now emotional eating, of course, I want to get your new take on it because we've been told that we eat emotionally. The term's been around for a long time, right? So what is it that you have that's a new piece of this puzzle?
Okay, that's a really great question. When you think about when someone finds themselves regularly overeating, snacking mindlessly, binging regularly, they generally think that they lack willpower. They generally think that there's something wrong with them. They just cannot stop doing this, okay? And so what I found over the course of time in my own recovery, because I was an emotional eater, I consider myself a recovered emotional eater, was that it was a complex issue. And it wasn't just about calories in, calories out, how much are you exercising, but it had to do with emotional issues. It had to do with spiritual issues, and it also had to do with your body sometimes being out of balance. The modern foods that we're eating are really throwing most of us off kilter.
But we do sometimes eat for emotional comfort, right?
We all do.
Yeah.
We all eat emotionally. The question is it affecting your health? Is it affecting your weight? Is it a problem for you? Because we all, if you sit and have a couple cookies, it's probably for pleasure. It's probably an emotional eating. But are you doing it regularly? Is it affecting your life in some way that isn't working for you?
So once we determine that, let's say that we see that, and then what's the next step? How can we get out of that frame of mind? How can we stop doing it?
Well, the next step, and this is why I wrote the book, is that we have to start doing a little sleuthing. Okay, so we have to begin to understand, is the bulk of your overeating caused by emotional issues? Are you missing some self-care skills that you might have learned in childhood that maybe you didn't learn in childhood? Okay, is the bulk of your eating due to the fact that your body is significantly out of balance from modern day foods, from lifestyle, lack of sleep, not enough exercise? Or are you out of balance because in some way you're spiritually out of balance? You have what I call spiritual hunger. You're longing for more peace and joy and purpose and passion in your life. So we start to sleuth. And in the book, I divide it in those 3 sections, and the reader can jump in anywhere, wherever it calls to you, wherever you think your issues might be.
So what are some of the questions that you ask in the book to guide us through that?
Well, let's say most people have a sense what their overeating is about. So most people will say, yeah, I think maybe I'm missing some self-care skills. I think I eat emotionally. Let's take a typical emotional eater. A typical emotional eater will use food to dull or tranquilize emotions that are difficult to cope with.
Just zone out.
Right. We'll use food to soothe and comfort and calm and pleasure, for escape. An emotional eater will use food to silence self-defeating, critical, negative, judgmental thoughts. Emotional eaters will use food to procrastinate. They'll use food as a reward. They'll use food to punish themselves. Right. So most emotional eaters will have a sense of what's going on with them with food. So the first place, if an emotional eater thinks, I do think I use food emotionally, will be to begin to work on some of those self-care skills. And the very first self-care skill in the book is all about connecting to oneself, okay? Because another way we can look at it is that most emotional eaters are disconnected from their signals, their mind signals, their body signals, their spiritual signals. So they're unaware of their emotions, often, what they're feeling. Go ahead.
Well, it seems like a complex thing. Because a lot of people, I think, know that they're eating emotionally, but there's a lot of pain there, right?
Right.
Even pain of procrastination, fear of failure. And when you use that term self-care, which is a great term, and it sounds very nurturing, but a lot of us, we tend to beat ourselves up, right? So let's say that somebody knows that they're doing this, but it's like pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, right? I mean, how do you break this cycle?
Well, that's why I have, I've broken all of this down into baby steps, into skills that you can learn. So for example, the very first skill, which I call self-connection, right? It just means going inside. And let's say you want to go order a pizza, okay? And you don't just want a slice of pizza. You really kind of want to do some damage.
You're going to eat the whole thing.
You're going to eat the whole thing. You want to get fries with it. You really want to do some damage. I ask you to pull back for a second before you order the pizza and ask yourself, what is it that I'm feeling, okay? Many emotional eaters are very out of touch with what they're feeling. They'll say, I don't know, just stress, things. I don't know what I'm feeling. So stop for a second. Let's get mindful. What are you feeling? So maybe the person says, well, it's been a hard day. I feel lonely. I feel kind of angry at my boss. I feel kind of empty. Okay, what are you needing? Now, you may say you're hungry. You may be needing a little bit of food.
I mean, are you going to really rush to the refrigerator for carrot sticks at this point?
No, you're not going to. But I'd like you to stop for a few minutes. Just take 5 minutes, and I'd like you to connect to yourself and find out, what are you actually needing rather than a cheesy pizza, okay? The person might stop and say, I think what I'm needing is some comfort. I think I'm needing some reassurance. I think maybe I'm needing some hope in my life. Okay. And the third part of that, this step is called self-connection, and we do it through an inner conversation. So I'm having an inner conversation with myself. What am I feeling? What do I need? I don't need a cheesy pizza. And then we access an inner nourishing voice. This addresses what you said before, that we're so hard on ourselves. We're so critical of ourselves. Many emotional eaters did not develop an inner nourishing voice early in their lives. Okay. They have a very strong inner critic. They have a very strong inner indulger that says, yeah, let's go ahead and get the pizza. We had a really hard day. They don't have an inner nurturer. Okay. And so in my book, throughout the book, we're building the voice of the inner nurturer.
So you talk about these different voices, because I've never heard that term, which is a great one, inner indulger. Yeah. So you're kind of telling them maybe what they are connecting with instead of who they really are, right? So you break it down sort of like that?
Yes, I mean, usually they have a very loud inner indulger voice, and that's why they order the pizza or the cheesy noodle dish, okay? And then after that, the inner critic comes on the grounds and beats them up for having done that.
Right.
So there's a voice that's very tiny, not very well developed, and that's the voice of the inner nurturer. And that inner nurture morphs into an inner limit setter. So it sounds like I've got all these voices, but there really aren't that many.
So there is a progression here. In other words, it's not like the first step is getting in touch with who you're talking to, right, inside. And then you said it morphs into an inner limit setter?
Yes.
So that's interesting. What happens in that stage?
So that's a voice that can say, so the inner nurturer might say, okay, I understand that you've had a hard day and that you're really needing some comfort and reassurance. And I'm here with you. I'm right here with you. I'm closer than your breath. And I can give you that comfort and that reassurance. And we're not going to get it in a cheesy pizza. We're not going to get it in a noodle dish. So how about, now comes the inner limit setter. How about we not order the pizza? We'll go home, we'll have something healthy, something that we like the taste of, but something healthier. And then how about later on, maybe we take a bubble bath, or maybe we sit down and listen to some music, or maybe we take some time and write in the journal about what's going on.
More self-care.
More self-care. So we have voices we can access that can help us meet our needs. The inner indulger doesn't help us meet our needs.
I see.
The feeling self, the one that says, I'm tired, I'm lonely, I'm having a bad day, she's running the show. Okay? We need to have other adult, mature, nourishing voices and firm voices that can help us get all this together.
And if someone wants to lose weight and they're using your book and doing this process, are they trying to stay on a diet at the same time, or
No,
are they forgetting
absolutely
about diet?
Yeah, my book is totally not about dieting. It's about learning to pay attention to all of these signals. Okay, in the second part of the book, we talk about physical signals like paying attention to hunger, so eating when you're hungry, listening to cravings, stopping when you've had enough.
And what about portions? I think a lot of people just think that sometimes portions are awfully large. I think
they are. But you know what? I have a chapter in my book, and it's about eating foods that are consistent with our human design. Okay, so if you really knew how we were designed, we were actually designed to eat to satiation every single time we sit down to eat. That's why we keep going, because our body is designed to do that. The problem is that we are eating foods, modern processed foods, and foods of animal origin that have no fiber, okay, and they don't fill us up quickly.
So they don't satiate.
They don't hit the satiation signals quick enough, okay?
Yeah.
Because we're meant to eat to satiation. So when you're eating what I talk about in my book, unprocessed whole plant foods, if you want to eat a yam and you're not done, eat two. You want to eat a dish of brown rice, you want some more, eat more. Okay? Your signals will work. They will tell you when you've had enough. So it's really
getting in touch with those signals. And this work, this inner work, now, is this something you do when you're hungry, or can you also do it at other times of the day when you're not hungry? Like
the time to do it is, there are many times you can do it. You can do it when you're hungry, okay, and you think you might get into trouble. You do it whenever you're having distress of any kind, anything's bothering you. You had an argument with someone. It's not even just for emotional eaters, this 3-step process. It really teaches you how to get in touch with what you're feeling, get in touch with what you're needing, and access a voice that can help comfort you.
So the 3-step process, is that it? That's
the 3-step process. It's called an inner conversation.
So review those steps again.
So step 1 is, what am I feeling?
Okay.
So whatever the situation is causing distress, I just had an argument with my mother. I just, came home from work and I want to have a binge. Okay. Step number 1, what am I feeling?
What am I feeling?
Really address all the feelings, not just one. See if you can address many.
Right.
I feel, it's just 3 words. I feel angry. I feel sad. Step number 2, what do I need? I think I need some comfort. This is an area where emotional eaters really get stuck. They'll turn to me and they'll say, I haven't the faintest idea what I need. What I need is chocolate. What I need is candy. No, maybe what you need is reassurance. Maybe what you need is support. Maybe what you need is downtime. Okay. Step number 3, access that inner nourishing voice that can step in there, comfort you, soothe you, and reassure you that you can meet your needs.
And where can we get the book?
We can get the book at my website, which is overeatingrecovery.com, or Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of the online booksellers.
Yeah, with New World Library, you're in real bookstores if you can find one, right?
That's right.
Well, this is great. Thank you so much for being here. And hold the book up one more time. So, and it's, say the title. It's
the Emotional Eater's Repair Manual. You want the whole title?
I love the whole, say the whole title.
It's the Emotional Eater's Repair Manual, Practical Mind, Body, Spirit Guide for Putting an End to Overeating and Dieting. I have to look at it myself. It's so long.
So this sounds really interesting if you need a good read, and if you need to lose weight at the same time that you're reading, this is your solution. So Thank you, Julie. Thank you for being with us. Next week, we are going to have Dr. Regina Lark with us. Dr. Regina Lark. She is a great declutterer. She specializes in hoarding. She's been on A&E's hit television show Hoarders, and her book is called Psychic Debris, Crowded Closets: The Relationship Between the Stuff in Your Head and What's Under Your Bed. And I can tell you that Regina really knows how to help you declutter from personal experience. So, and we also have 3 women who will join us: Kim Summers Egglesey, Susie Augustin, and Claudia Cooley. And they all talk about various ways to find your purpose, be in your power. That's what Kim does. Susie Augustine is sexy, fit, and fab at any age. And Claudia Cooley, she turns duds into studs. We have to find out how she does that, right? Okay, or if it's even possible. Okay, so join us next week for the Book Beat. We're always archived online at lalive.com. I'm sorry, latalklive.com. Thank you, Nez, my engineer. And it's been great. Join us next week. And this is LA Talk Live, where we're more than just talk.